Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, our Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. We'll be talking about Final Fantasy XIV and Square Enix on a podcast. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. As always, welcome to episode 100. Holy hell. Yeah, we made it. Yay. Episode 100, gents. We got live letter stuff to talk about. We got what's going on with Dragon Quest to talk about, and a whole slew of other stuff if you're joining us live. Thank you so much, chat. Make sure to chime in with your opinions. As always, we like to put those in the show. If you're watching on YouTube, on Ready Check Radio, listening on Audible, Spotify, iTunes, any of those, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe. Turn on those notifications. You know what to do. It's easy, fast, and cheap. And tell all your friends if you like what we do here. Spread it around. Joining me to talk over all the fun stuff today, Mr. Chris Montoya. What's up, Tark?
Greetings, programs. Mixed feelings about today's episode, but I want you to know, and I told you this behind the scenes, but I took the plunge, my friend. I took the plunge.
Yes, you did. You did. I got a message. Someone has dabbled in Final Fantasy XI, and I immediately said, "Hey, retail or Horizon?" And he was like, "What's Horizon? I guess that's your answer." Okay.
It's 2 hours on the installation and installation boss, but
yeah, and it used to be worse. So that's what I reminded you of. Just remember, it's better now than it was back then, and it's still terrible. Also on the line, Mr. Adam Lane. What's up, Kronos?
Not much. Yeah, I tried the installation boss one time too. I made it past that, and then not much further. I thought he was talking about Power Wash Simulator. Kind of funny.
Nope.
Oh, see, that would have been better though, because then I took the plunge would have been a pun.
Yeah.
So,
I thought that's where we were going. I thought that's where it was going.
No.
Yeah.
No, we can't convince him to do that. Hey, quick programming note. There won't be a Relic Grind episode next week. We're going to take next week off after 100 here because Tark and I are going to do some discussions behind the scene. Mr. Adam Lane, Kronos, will be departing the show for a little more work-life balance with the new job and everything. Kronos, it's been 100 episodes. You've been amazing. I will never forget just like randomly being reached out to when I was starting up and everything. And he was like, "Hey, I heard you're doing a little something, and I could go for that if you need me."
Yeah, I was. It was rough back then. I was going through some rough stuff, I think, and then now it's a lot better. So it's good. Yeah,
it's good, man.
Yeah, that's absolutely great to hear. Great to hear. And yeah, I do remember it was like, "Hey, I'm going through some stuff, and I could use something happy." And I was like, "Let's do it, friend." Obviously, Adam will always be welcome here, so I'm sure you'll see him pop in and out on various shows, whether it's Jeopardy shows, because we still have to do the final round of that one. So he'll be back for that, and of course, like when expansions launch and things like that. So absolutely, we'll have him in and out. It's been an absolute pleasure. But let's talk about Final Fantasy for the last official time with Kronos and the live letter that was last Friday. This was not one that I stayed up to watch because I was just like, I don't care. Like, I know what generally is going to be coming in this patch sequence. This isn't spoiling anything. I'll watch it the next day. So I did. I watched the playback. But Tark, I think, did you do your like live reactions thing, or what'd you do?
I did live and kind of put that up on YouTube. So check that out over at Tarkoth Gaming. It wasn't anything that we didn't expect. Maybe I didn't expect the trial boss to be fully shown. I expected question marks. But I can't wait to see what Soken puts out for that music.
Yeah, do you think they really it would have been stupid if they would have tried to get away with question marks on this one, right?
Maybe.
I thought they were going to do it. I thought they were going to for sure do it. I was surprised they did do it. Not that it really matters. It's not like we didn't know.
Right, exactly, yeah. So some of the big hits, there was literally Doc Holliday's right in chat. There's nothing mind-blowing. There was nothing eagerly anticipated, and let's get a sneak peek of something. We all kind of had a feeling of what was going to be shown here and what wasn't. So it's really just confirmation. I thought a lot of it just felt like confirmation of what was going to be in 6.4 and what was going to be in 6.4.5. Because the things they didn't talk about, those are going to be in 6.4.5. And there are a couple of those, like the Criterion Dungeon, right? That's going to be a 6.4.5 thing. And we kind of hoped maybe it would be a .4 thing, but the previous one was a .x5. So, I mean, it all makes sense, no matter how much we may have wanted it. So the new patch gets the name The Dark Throne. Kind of makes sense, right? I mean, we've been the Dark Knight, and we've been doing the Black Knight. We've been doing the whole thing with Golbez. Releases late May. Chrono, surprised by the date range at all?
I think this lines up. I mean, we've been talking in my Ultimate group about like how close the patch is, like if we're gonna kill it before the patch, and this is about what most of us thought, like that 3rd to 4th week in May. So it kind of lines up with how they've been working through it. So
that means you have a little over a month.
Yeah,
about a month and a half ish, depending on which of those two like last weeks of May they go ahead and drop it in to get the ultimate down. You gonna make it?
I think so. I think now that we've seen the last phase, I think we can do it within the next 3 weeks or so. Would be my guess. We'll see though.
It puts it around the 23rd or the 30th. Tark, any surprises there for you?
Nope. This is kind of what I've been predicting, and then after that, it's all about what 6.5 and expansion release window is going to be like. So, no, nothing. The live letter wasn't surprising. The release window wasn't surprising. I think the most surprising thing about the whole thing was that more time was spent on the merch, I think.
It was a lot of merch time. Oh, Blue Mage is not dead, I guess. That was another thing.
Blue Mage is not dead. Yes, this is true.
Yeah, Blue Mage is not dead. That was a little surprising. We expected Blue Mage stuff in this sequence, but I didn't expect them to really bring that to 6.4. I honestly felt like I honestly thought there was going to be a 6.5 thing. I don't know why. It's not like I had any, evidence to suggest that. That was just kind of an own feeling. So I was like, oh, that's cool. All right, it's coming a little earlier. That's neat. We'll get down to it in a few seconds here because we've got new main scenario quests obviously coming. We're going to continue the main scenario quest and then also add Tataru's Grand Endeavor because, that's just going over swimmingly as the most exciting bits of content ever added to an MMORPG ever. Somehow further Hildebrand adventures will continue. Nova Crystallis said the Inspector, takes on a grape-like visage, which was funny to see. The Hildebrand story continues in 6.4.5, as will the next phase of the Manderville weapon enhancement quest. So that's not a 6.4 thing, it's a 4.5 thing. And yeah, we got some pictures of that. Splendorous Tools also going to follow in that same thing. And we've got the new dungeon, and I think we'll kind of stop there and recap some thoughts. 6.4 is going to bring the Aether font. And there was a picture of like polar bears all over the place, and he said that makes polar bears just make him think of MMORPGs. Probably
no idea
because
why.
of Ultima Online.
Oh, okay. Not a game.
Yeah, I mean, that's some of the speculation is that that's they're very Ultima Online if you were big into UO those days.
I think I just think of Coca-Cola. Does that make me old?
Oh yeah, the Christmas bears. Yeah. The dungeon does have like a very Charlayan feel to it, so we're going to be headed back there. And Voidcast Dias and an extreme version of that trial coming later will be facing Golbez, who I am showing on the screen right now because he looks like a badass.
I really can't wait to see what Soken does with Cloud and Darkness. It's going to be so good.
I mean, the other interesting thing is like now, what is the 0.5 trial, right?
Yeah.
Well, we got Zero. What was the boss at the end of Final Fantasy IV?
Zeromus, yeah.
Maybe she goes crazy, and this whole "she's part of our trust" is all a debate.
Right. And we all kind of saw this coming way back in. We were like, all right, wait, if we're gonna go down the 4 route, and we have a character named Zero. I
didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, I know. You wanted to fight against it when we talked about it way back then. You were like, no. This is this is not my new girl. No.
My bae.
New Unreal Trial will replace the currently running one. That'll be Zervan, the Warring Triad scenario. I actually am not looking forward to that one.
Party Fighter is gonna be awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait. You're not skipping Thor. It's not happening.
It's not happening. Nope.
Because
They're gonna tune it nice and tight.
You're synced down. You're gonna be synced down. So yeah, PS gonna have to learn how to do Thor. It's gonna be funny.
Next round of the Pandemonium raid sequence, the final one will be launched, and then the Savage difficulty, remember, that'll be a week later because they loved the way that went when they tried it out last time. And actually, I think from a player-based perspective, Kronos, we all kind of were in favor of how that went too.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm glad that they've decided, even with like this, like some of the stuff that wasn't great, that they decided to keep going down this road. So I'm just hoping they kind of button up the things that were not great about it.
Yeah.
Which is mainly just like tuning the first couple fights for like having the extra pieces of gear, and then maybe not tuning the last fight well, and then just making sure data mining stuff isn't really affecting like the week one clears.
Yeah, if you need to patch for that raid, do that then.
They're not going to.
Don't put it in. I know.
No, I mean they're not going to. They should. They should. Because they bitch about the data mining, and it's absolutely going to happen. It just is.
I will say, even with that, I still prefer the week delay. I like how it like gives everybody kind of time to breathe before the Savage drops. I don't know.
And enjoy like not rushing through the first experience, the story experience of it, just because you and your free company got to get going. We got to get going. Let's go. Let's go. It gives you that whole let's just chill, do it, enjoy the story. Cool. All right, let's all right. Now we're ready. Yeah. Second variant and Criterion dungeon is a 6.45 thing, as we mentioned. Mount Rakan. 3 levels of difficulty once again, normal, Criterion, and Criterion Savage. You don't have to complete the first one, which I didn't expect that you would, but apparently some people did because they felt an express need to say you don't have to have completed the first one to go ahead and do this one. I never looked at these things in my brain, at least from a development standpoint, as being a consecutive series of things. That kind of, in my mind, would defeat the point once you have 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in the game. If you forced people through all of them, we kind of complain prior to the trust system, Tark, of having to go back and on other characters or guiding new players, and those sequences of dungeons that are in A Realm Reborn and even into Heavensward that are sequential, and you have to do them sequentially to move the main story quest. Now, not such a big deal with Trust, which, by the way, is now getting shot through some more instances here as well.
Yay. Is there a question
Always
there?
Good. No.
Okay.
If you want to talk about dungeons and sequences, go for it.
Yeah, it's just more like Palace of the Dead. They're all separate entities. So take them at your leisure if you don't necessarily like this one. I just wonder how they're going to tune it. Is it going to still be that tight tuning where, kind of getting best in slot is going to be the way to go or not? We shall see. Hopefully they expand on the rewards, because Savage, even Criterion, was kind of meh.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
I
think if they're going to do any sweep of rewards and stuff like that, it's not going to come till post expansion, because I just feel like these were designed already and in progress. By the time we actually saw they were going to be a thing, they're working on the 3rd and 4th one. That's how far down the road they are, that they would never have gotten the feedback of this should be changed until they were already almost done with the 3rd and the 4th ones. That's just the feeling I get, Kronos, that if we're going to see rewards change, whether it's in the Criterions or the variant dungeons, or just in gear progression, overhaul, or tweaks and changes like we've clamored for a while, I just feel like that's going to be a post-expansion thing at the earliest.
I hope they change it. I don't know. I worry if they don't. We'll see, though. I guess the other thing
that
would be terrible. The only weird thing too, that because it's like its own name, like I didn't know if they were gonna do like another Silden thing and like reuse the currency, but it looks like they're not. I would imagine. So that means each variant dungeon is gonna have like its own little coins, which I don't know. Just seems weird. Because now that means that if you want the stuff from the first variant dungeon, you got to do the first variant dungeon. You can't do the second one and then get the rewards from the first one.
Right.
So I was surprised they did that. I thought maybe they would try to keep it like so you could do any of them maybe, and then maybe eventually kind of have a roulette for the variants or something. Doesn't seem like that's their idea though. So
yeah, but so I hate more and more currencies, and
I
Final
don't
Fantasy,
like
to be fair, is full of them.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. But I kind of when I look at the development of what variant and Criterion is supposed to be doing, though, I kind of get it.
Yeah,
like the point of that content is to be that far to the sides, 100% optional. Just if you want to do it and you like a reward, go do it. If you don't want to do it, it has zero impact on any. Like it's meant to be that way.
Right.
And so you might argue that, well, okay, if it's meant to be that way, who cares if the currency is interchangeable across 3 or 4 of these different dungeons? Right. But they're trying to make it an interesting piece of content to do, not an interesting farm to do.
And I think they were successful at that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So I don't know. I'm sick of currencies.
I mean, every 24 man has to have its own coin. I don't know.
All the beast tribes and I'm almost done with mine, by the way. I think I have like 3 days left for max rep on Luperitz, and then we're all done there.
Nice.
Duty support, as I mentioned, is going to get the Stormblood dungeons. They do show a picture of Gosetsu, Heian, and an Aura Conjurer joining your character and passing Bardam's test. That was a cute picture with like the check marks above everybody. Adjustments to PvP and PvE jobs. That's really not coming till the next letter, though, as far as what those will be. Series 4 will begin, as will Season 7. Frontline will have a new UI element that will display the match time and score. Rules for the Field of Glory Shatter will be adjusted, and the Borderland Ruins Secure will be temporarily unavailable.
That was the best announcement they made.
We did it.
Yes, we did it.
That mode sucks. That mode has never been fun.
We did it, boys. We did it.
Yeah, that mode sucks.
The only part that's bad about that is it's temporarily unavailable.
Well, I think they're going to redo it.
I mean, I think
they have to. They have
what is it? One of the rival wings is still temporarily unavailable. That's been temporarily available for like 3 years.
That's the very first one. Yeah, we just have Hidden Gorge. Still.
I mean, that's basically deleted.
That's true. I totally forgot about
that. You forgot it exists because you can't. Yeah, you can't even select it. It's in the duty menu. You can look at it.
You can look at it.
Yeah.
What? Nostalgia about it.
645, we'll get a Blue Mage update finally. Level cap going from 70 to 80. New spells, new Blue Mage exclusive gear, new enemies added to the Masked Carnival. And like I said, Tarek, this one actually was a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought we're going to get them, but not that we were getting them, just when. I thought this was going to be like okay, you know what? That last patch going into the expansion, we don't have a whole lot of shit going.
No, 6.55 would have been a good time for it.
Let's drop the Blue Mage in it. And so that's kind of where my thought process was. If we're a little skimpy on 6.5, 6.55, let's go ahead and chuck the Blue Mage in there. But no, we're going to get in 6.45. Looking forward to it?
Yes, because I'm like so close to actually having my complete spellbook, and I actually want to do raids. But I feel at this point, like, when you get more content, people come back to Blue Mage, so that might be the time to actually go back and do the raids at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into it.
I just don't want them to put a mount behind this, please. I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it.
I'm honestly kind of amazed there hasn't already been a mount behind it.
Well, there is. The Marlboro, I did that one.
Oh, you did that one? Okay.
And then the other one was title. So I was like, thank God, I don't have to do that crap again. And now I'm worried they're going to do the mount again. And
you don't want to do Gaia?
I don't want to do Shiva. Mages? I do not want to do Shiva with 8 Blue Mages. No thanks. I'm good. I'd rather not. But I will if there's a mount. So, you know.
Of course you will. Yeah, he forces himself to do the mount stuff.
I'm almost done with all the mounts in the game that you can obtain. So Like,
It's iconic.
if they add another one at that point, like
even I, who love minions and will farm fates or whatever for months and months to get one, and there's still alliance raids that I constantly run once or twice a week just to take a shot at and not getting them because I have terrible luck. Even I am like, oh, PvP, no, nope.
Yeah, didn't it take you 7 to 8 years to get the sightseeing minion done? Like, because it was just
Yep.
I
refused to do the original sightseeing log.
What's funny is
I
could do those because like I could do them on my own. I think me and Tarkoth ran Lighthouse because I still don't have the stupid construct minion, and I did it during like a Moogle event, and I still don't have it. I ran that thing like 30 times, still don't have the minion.
Oh my goodness,
that's about my luck.
No.
Ocean fishing is going to get an update, and you'll be able to voyage to waters outside Kugane and the Ruby Sea. Island Sanctuary content updated with new ranks and visions. So we're thinking probably like 2 ranks again. A new gathering area will be added in the wilds, and new construction plots will be added in the hideaway. So those last 2 things kind of made me feel like this is going to be a little more than probably the 2 rank little spurt update that we just received.
Yeah, I think we might get up to rank 15, make it a nice even, 5.
Would be 3.
Well, I mean, from the original, it was up to 10. Okay. Now it's up to 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're expanding. At some point, they can't expand anymore. Maybe they'll expand up. I don't know. A new area though is kind of intriguing. Like a new gathering hunting area. Was like a landmass just gonna float in and crash into the island? I don't know. But the one thing that really kind of perturbed me is that they talked previously about the outdoor furnishings and allowing gardens because they were so restrictive with FCs. And now they say, no, that's not going to be part of it. They're not going to put gardens in. So I'm like, what the hell? Come on.
Yeah,
guys.
no gardens. So the outdoor furnishings, they'll be able to be placed near structures, 90 slots, and that'll be unlocked via Island Sanctuary progress. So no, you don't just automatically get that for building one of your structures. You're going to have to actually do the progress.
You can put your outdoor housing items in your not a house.
In your totally not housing, not meant to replace housing in any way feature. New item rewards, materials, craftable items, crops, animals. So you'll have some more hunting to do. Isle work, handicrafts, and structures all to be added. And a small note that not only gardens, like Tark mentioned, but even striking dummies, they will not be in Island Sanctuary either. And we'll have a little demo of how you place those things exactly in the next live letter. Tombstones of Comedy, that's your name. Not a very surprising name when you see where our tombstones have been going through the 6.0 series. And the maximum number of gear sets increased to 100. Available to all characters immediately, regardless of quest progression. Yay.
Cool.
Yay.
How would you say more glamour
it's
plates?
Still not glamour. Yeah,
it's
still not glamour paint.
Better. Yeah, like who the hell needs 100 gear sets?
That's
what the hell?
Future proofing for all the jobs they have in mind.
Okay,
right.
okay,
Yeah. Right. This one was neat. Job icons will now be displayed in the chat log and on player nameplates. Chat log icons will only display within parties and alliances. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Awesome for replay. And you look back at video, you're like, oh, okay, you know exactly where all the jobs are. Rest in peace to the people that got banned for using this mod, though.
Yes.
So sad.
Yeah. Well.
But your sacrifice has made the game better for everyone.
Transaction fee for items sold on the market board can now be incorporated into the total prices displayed under total. Mercifully. How is that not a day one thing? I never understood that one. Glasses and wing fashion accessories will now display when engaged in battle in the overworld. So you, our peers, enjoy. That's kind of a big one on that side, particularly the wings, right? Items stored in a variety of locations can now be selected when casting glamours in an in-room. Fairy glamours are now available to scholars, where you can select from Eos, Selene, or Carbuncle. And more information about the graphics update planned for the expansion will be revealed at the Fan Festival in North America. So that's, we will see some, I'm sure everybody's eagerly going to be awaiting that one, Tark, and you'll be there to see it in person.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. One tidbit, I don't know if we got it from this live letter or if I read it afterwards, but apparently the update is not coming to PS4, which now means we're really separating PS5 players from 4 players, and eventually 4 is going to be cut off. And we have to move forward with the technology, just like we did with the PS3.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected. To be expected. I don't know if I didn't hear that, so that's interesting. That feels like a little earlier than I would have expected, but maybe it's not. Maybe if I like went back and actually looked at the timeline, I think we just hung on to PS3 longer than we should have, or longer than we
It was
expected
done
them
after
to.
Heaven's Ward, right?
I was just
It lasted one expansion.
Yeah.
Just because they're not supporting with the graphic update, they'll just use it as an excuse for like 2 years before they actually cut it off.
Yeah, we can't. The
Yeah.
system won't handle it. The PS4
8.0.
won't handle it.
8.4, sorry, or 8.0. Sorry.
It won't handle it. We're gonna skip to something else here real quick, and then I'm gonna come back. So there's gonna be a Final Fantasy 10th anniversary fireworks and music show if you're in Japan. This is incredibly cool, and I am super jealous. On August 26th, in the Hanazono Rugby Stadium in Osaka. The interesting point here, and why I bring it up, because maybe you're in Japan, you can go. That's cool, great. But they had on the slide here that other locations are being considered for the future. I feel like they would already know, right? You only have a limited time window, Kronos, on a 10th anniversary. like,
I don't know. Maybe you could just celebrate it, pretend like it's 10.
Right?
I don't know.
Moreno Hanabi is a new style of entertainment showing a show involving fireworks synced with music, and ticket sales will be announced on the Lodestone at a later date. I was like, man, I'm so jealous. That is super, super, super cool. Hatching Tides going on and all that stuff. And in closing, Yoshi P did send his well wishes to the Blue Protocol team as they kicked off their network test last week as well, and he continues to look forward to playing the game. I do want to go back, though, Tark, because as far as the North American Fan Fest, about 98% of this live letter was QVC.
Yes, it was.
And the old Square Enix shopping festival. There were a ton of things being revealed for sale at the live letter. And obviously they pre-order them ahead of time and then just kind of go pick up your bag while you're there to keep lines down to a minimum as best as possible. Some very, very cool things. I know I saw on Twitter that you had maybe spent a little more than you had planned ordering some things. So what's in the bag o' Tark?
So first off, though, this announcing the merch and then be like, oh, by the way, the pre-orders go live in like 2 hours. This thing has to stop. It was even worse with Pixel Remaster, and I didn't even get that. I'm still on the waiting list for it, so maybe I can get my hands on a physical copy. But I know some people, close friends, that were like, I was at work, I couldn't log on to get the merch, or my boy Piers, he was asleep. He didn't even know that it was going live, so he missed out on a lot of stuff that he wanted to get. But yeah, my wallet is empty. Very empty. Let's see, 2 t-shirts, the hoodie, the jacket, one of the
I was gonna hit you up and say, hey, order a Zodiac jacket for me, but I saw your tweet and I was like, well, I guess he's already fucking ordered. Thanks, man. Thanks for the offer. Love you.
See, here's the funny part. I thought I had ordered the wrong size, so I was going to cancel, but when I went back, the pre-order for the jacket was already sold out. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to go with the size I got on the jacket because it's already sold out, and realized, oh, the Japanese sizing is different. So I actually got the right size that I wanted. So
Kronos, Tark's a good friend, right? Like he bands together with everybody but us to get tickets to the live letter. We don't even get a heads up on, hey, toss me some money if you want some merch. I'm making my basket. He's a good friend. He's a good friend.
And I'm going to Eorzean Symphony for my first symphony. So
nice.
Excited about that.
You've never been to the symphony?
No.
Like ever for anything?
No. So
wow.
To go to an Eorzean Symphony, yeah. What up?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's absolutely cool. Where are you going? When is it?
It's
It's
the
the
day
day
after
after
FanFest.
FanFest.
Oh,
extra day.
yeah, that thing. Yeah, that one. Okay, yeah. Oh, by the way, your Pixel remaster did finally get a release date for Switch and PS4 this week. April 19th. April 19th. So, yeah, I mean, if anybody's got a Zodiac jacket and wants to be a good friend, hit me up. Let me know. What else do we got here? Oh, Square Enix president, new president showed up, right? As well as current outgoing president. They kind of both made their appearances. Yosuke Matsuda and Takashi Kiryu. Kiryu showed up to kind of, pass the torch, right? We talked about them being replaced here. Turns out Kiryu, big fan of 14. And
his wife.
Say what you will about his support of NFTs and stuff and, kind of just going down that same path. Final Fantasy XIV fans really kind of liking him because he only plays with his wife. And he said that when he gets home from work, she'd have weapons and gear appropriate for his level and where she expects us expects us to go, all ready to go. So that's very, very charming. Very, very charming. He also said, I'm really looking forward to being a part of the team and following the game's development. So, neat.
I have respect for him that he actually, waited to get his guitar. He didn't just use his position to acquire one. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not falling for this bait.
I'm not either. I'm not either.
This is how they get you. That's how they trap you in. And then you have NFTs in your game, and
that's how the blockchain gets you.
Yeah.
I play blockchain games with my wife. Oh, he's so wait. Did he say blockchain games? Oh, he's so. Wait a minute. 6.38 is out. Really not a huge big deal there. PvP changes, which we talked about, and the lock for Abyssos gear acquisition removed. So.
One thing about PvP.
6.3. Go ahead.
This is further affirmation that they tuned Sage perfectly, because yet still no PvP adjustments for Sage.
This is like the first time they changed Dragoon, I think, was in this patch.
Yeah, I think this is the first time they touched Dragoon,
Yeah.
Never touched Sage. It's perfect in every way.
All in all, thumbs up, thumbs down, Chronos Live Letter.
Can I give like a middle thumb? Like a
thumb across?
Like this?
Sure, why not?
I mean, it's fine. So it was a live letter. Nothing surprising, nothing amazing. I'm excited for the raid, but they didn't really show much about that.
No, they did not.
Golbez is cool.
Golbez looks awesome.
But like it's just like nothing was really, I don't know. I guess maybe like that's just where we are now. We're like this is what the live letters are. I don't know. It's like we already kind of know what's coming. They just kind of tell us it's coming and then show us some pictures.
So let me ask you this. As the live letter concept, right? Before A Realm Reborn came out, the live letter was very, very interesting. It was super engaging. There was, and it had to be, right? It was something we didn't have our hands on. They had shut down the version 1 X months before version 2 came out. That was our touch point in seeing Final Fantasy XIV stuff. And then even leading into Heaven's Word, I felt like they were... Am I the only one that's kind of just felt live letters are on a bit of a downswing? And that's not a disparaging comment towards Yoshi P or any of the team that puts them together. They're well done. The information's there. It's cool to see some stuff. But when it's not the live letters leading into an expansion, Tark, I feel like the live letters in between those expansion announcements or the live letters in between the fan festivals that have those trickles of expansion information. I feel like the .1, .2, .3, .4 live letters, I don't even know if I need those anymore. Sure, it's nice to sit and watch something with the team and everything, but I kind of know what I'm getting out of every patch now. We've been doing this for 10 years.
No, yeah. I get how you feel, but I think live letters is kind of intrinsically part of Final Fantasy XIV now. Can they cut down the number? Like instead of doing like 2 per patch, they just have one big live letter and be like, okay, and then put out all the information. Maybe they could go down that route. But I think there's such an expectation now, I think, that there is going to be a live letter for each patch. They're going to talk about it. Maybe we don't need a post-patch breakdown live letter. Narrow down the 2 pre-patch ones down to 1. But I still love having a live letter. I don't think it's needed, but it's part of it for me, having that live letter experience, having to Yoshi P talk to us. I think it makes 14 unique.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe it's just me, Kronos. I just feel like, I can tell you right now, if you gave me the schedule for the live letters for the next year, right? 12 months. I could tell you, looking at that schedule, these are the ones that I would stay up and watch. These are the ones that I'll just read about the next day.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think they could stand to shorten them. Honestly, I think that's probably something they should. I think one.
I just feel like some of them end up feeling like they only did them because they feel like they have to.
I do agree with Park to an extent, though, where I think it's kind of nice to have at least one per patch. But I think you could stand to like not make them 5 hours long sometimes, and then I guess one every half patch, because now we've kind of relegated some content that's like kind of important to half patches. So I think it's kind of nice for them to at least go over that stuff. It feels like they're still communicating. I personally find like so obviously the stuff leading up to the expansion is always exciting. I like the 0.112 because it kind of tells you the direction of the expansion, as far as like where jobs are going and the raid, stuff like that. So I always find those it's interesting, but I think I've gotten to the point kind of like you, Mike, where like the middle ones, I kind of will probably just wake up the next day and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm not gonna wait 3 hours for them to tell me what the name of the raid tier is.
Yeah, and this is the last live letter before we'll know about the expansion, right? Presuming that we're getting an expansion announcement at North America.
We'll get one more live letter.
We have
before
one more,
patch.
right? Yeah, we have one more.
There'll be one more.
Oh, I'm talking about this sequence for the 645, 64 live letter. This will be the last one. It's split into 2 parts, but this will be the last presentation before we know about the expansion. So then, they're going to try and do a live letter for 6.5, and everybody's going to be like, we don't want to fucking hear about 6.5. We have expansion details. Tell us more about those expansion details. And they're going to say the usual, stay tuned for London's fan festival.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
So we can predict exactly the way this goes.
We won't even know the job in Vegas. We'll just know the name of the expansion. That's it.
Well, so let me ask you this before we head off to other Square Enix stuff and we'll part from Final Fantasy. What do you expect to get at FanFest North America? Do you expect an expansion name, a trailer, a job? You like
no job. No, they got to spread this out, especially if what I'm predicting is they only give us one job, a DPS job, caster possibly. They got to spread that news out.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the full trailer, right? It's going to be that little teaser one.
It'll be a little
the 40-second one or whatever. Yeah,
it'll be a quick one.
I think they'll show a job. I think you'll get the name and whatever's in the trailer for it. I still think we're gonna get 2. So that could be wrong.
I kind of agree with you, Targ. I feel like we'll get the title, we'll get the little teaser trailer, and I don't know if we get a job announcement. I think Yoshi P does the whole teases with whatever he's wearing thing and just lets it go until London.
Standard Yoshi P operation.
When did Dancer get shown? Was that in London?
That was the second one, I believe.
Okay, so you're probably right then. That's probably the trend then. It's probably just the teaser, because it was like what? It was Monk. They showed Monk for Stormblood, which isn't new. And then they showed Dark Knight and then Paladin. So yeah, it's probably just the teaser and no job. And then they'll show the job in London. Yeah.
We shall see. Let's head over to some other Square Enix news. And if you're a little concerned for Dragon Quest as a franchise / concerned about Dragon Quest XII,
not the only one.
I don't want to say you're right, but you're probably not wrong either. See, here's the deal. We talked about a few weeks ago, right? Dragon Quest XII hasn't really announced anything, and maybe that should be a little concerning, but then maybe thinking, well, it's kind of Final Fantasy XVI season right now, and maybe the message they'd worry about it getting a little bit lost underneath Final Fantasy XVI, and there's probably some validity to that. Although in Japan, you would think they'd be all over announcing Dragon Quest because it's incredibly big there, comparatively speaking. Well, the series chief producer, Ryutaro Ichimura, has now resigned from Square Enix. Now, before anybody jumps on this as like the end of the world, right? He's the series producer. That doesn't mean like day to day, he's in there with his hands on Dragon Quest 12, and you should be worried about Dragon Quest 12. But he has been a shepherd for the series and a producer for the entire franchise for a long time now. He's leaving, and the resignation kind of came out of nowhere on Twitter. It said, "This is a sudden report, but as of 3/31, I've resigned from Square Enix. It's a long story with many thoughts and feelings, so please see the attached memo. To all the many staff members who worked with me and to all the users, thank you so much." He's been working at Square for 22 years and wanted to thank everybody in the whole process. And basically, what the resignation kind of boiled down to was he's taking a look at his life, realizing at the age of 25, I started with the Dragon Quest stuff, and now here we are all these years later. I'm looking back and I'm like, I'm 47 now. If it takes 3 or 4 years to make a game, how many more games do I realistically have in my lifetime? And so I want to be a little more selective and kind of start making the games that I really, really want to make right now. And I have to think carefully about each of those games. So we don't know where he's going or something like that, but he wants to start kind of with a clean slate and maybe work on some quote-unquote riskier projects that don't seem to be something that's going to be happening at Square Enix anytime soon. And while we certainly wish him well, and that's perfectly valid reason to be doing what you want to do, go make the games you want to make. We talked, guys, just a few months ago about Ryota Aomi, who was one of the Dragon Quest producers, leaving Square Enix as well, and other leadership changes in the Dragon Quest department. Should you be worried, Tark, if you're a Dragon Quest fan?
I'm going to go with yes. You should probably just be a little bit worried. Like, I don't know if it's a matter of they wanted to take the series in a new direction and Square Enix was like, no, or the other way around. Square Enix was pushing a new direction and they had different ideas. But this screams of, like in the movie business, they'll say, we left because of creative differences. It screams of creative differences in my mind. And it gets me to the point where of like, if things are rocky with Dragon Quest 12, does Armor Project maybe look to move Dragon Quest to a different developer and publisher maybe?
There was a whole speculation thing on Reddit, because, that's what Reddit does.
Yeah.
Of like, he's leaving because Dragon Quest 12 isn't going to be turn-based. And people were like, what do you mean? They've never confirmed that. Well, they did kind of hint that they've made that new hybrid system that is not turn-based, but has turn-based elements.
And I can't wait for you to see it.
We have no reason, Kronos, to believe that he walked out because it wasn't going to be turn-based. Maybe, sure, but they could have kicked his cat, and he was angry about that. Is just as likely. Who knows the real story behind the scenes? Do you have concerns for DQ?
I mean, I kind of agree with Tark a little bit. I think the way his statement reads, I mean, if like the way he feels like he's not going to get to make many more games, and like Dragon Quest is probably a game that's going to take another probably 2 to 3 years before it comes out, maybe longer. He deems that as not like that. It
not
makes
the
it
game
feel like
he wants to make.
Yeah. So it's like that just makes me feel like there was some kind of tension. Maybe not. Who knows? And they'll probably never say. I mean, because most people
we'll never know.
Yeah, like when they move on, they probably just want to put that behind them, and I understand that. And I mean, I hope he goes on and he makes something that he really enjoys. But it just feels like that thing that he really enjoys isn't Dragon Quest anymore.
Yeah,
which is probably not a great sign for people that are fans of the series. So
that's multiple producer shepherds. Again, this isn't like the direct, and one person doesn't make a game anyway. A director can depart from a project before it's launched, and the project can still, thrive.
Sure.
And these are producers. They're not the hands-on every day, but they are kind of the guides, the finance guides, the scheduling guides, making sure everything's on track. And this is kind of two people in just the last 2 months that have been doing it for this series for a long time that both have now departed. It does look a little weird, even if it's totally coincidental. Infinity Strash Dragon Quest The Adventure of Dai, however, did get a confirmed global release. This is an action RPG coming out on the PS4, 5, Switch, and PC via Steam on the PC this fall. We don't have an exact date. That'll come a little bit later. But if you're looking for a little Dragon Quest fix while you're waiting for 12, you've got at least this coming. I don't know how great it would be. This is based on the manga, and some of the art that they did show looked like it was ripped right from the pages. So that's super cool. But we'll have to see how good it actually is. 20 years ago this past week, gentlemen, Square Enix became a thing, previously having been obviously just Square and Enix. It was 20 years ago on April 1st that those two companies merged. A merger that almost didn't happen, if you remember it right. They had been in talking for a while, and the catastrophic failure of the Spirits Within movie combined, I guess you have to put in the delay of Final Fantasy X there too. It wasn't just Spirits Within. Final Fantasy X was delayed, but Spirits Within and the closing of Square Pictures put Square on rocky financial ground. And then the delay of Final Fantasy X didn't help, and so the negotiations stopped for a period of time. And then obviously 10 releases. It's a huge commercial success. The two companies start talking. That was back at the time when like Square had to sell stock to Sony just to like try and remain afloat. And it was a rocky time and almost didn't happen. But 20 years ago, the company we all know today became a thing. And I don't want to spoil anything as we get to the end of the show here, but Kronos, your thoughts looking back 20 years ago on that merger?
I remember being kind of surprised because I feel like even before Square Enix, I was pretty big fanboy for like most things SquareSoft, just in general. I wasn't as big into Enix, I think, and I still probably like the games that I carried over as part of the merger. I don't play them quite as much, so I feel like I'm still more of like a SquareSoft person at heart, I guess. It's just funny. So I remember like it probably made me play more things that I wouldn't have maybe played that I got enjoyment out of. So that was kind of cool. And I just remember I feel like when this happened, I just remember like not really knowing a ton about Enix other than like a few games. So, but I was pretty young back then. So.
Was it good for RPGs as a whole?
It's in that weird sweet spot, right? Where like I think a lot of people consider like the golden age, like the 90s and like maybe the really early 2000s, like right before this happened. So it's kind of unfortunate that that's where the line gets drawn, because I feel like unless you really like Final Fantasy XII, most people don't care. I would say most people don't rate the ones after that very highly, like unless it was like your first one. Like I've met some people that really like 13 and 15. Obviously 14 is an exception.
Yeah.
But like, and you have your Dragon Quest fans, right? I think a lot of people consider what was that, Dragon Quest VIII, to be like one of the better RPG. That was like after the merger. I remember the demo disc came with 12.
Yeah, that was a PS2 game.
So you have that.
No, it wasn't. It's PS1, right? DQA?
No, it's PS2. It was PS2 because it came out. Yeah. Wasn't the demo disc with?
Oh yeah. And it had the FF12 demo. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember buying the game just to play the FF12 demo and not really caring about Dragon Quest. And it's not that I think Dragon Quest is bad. It's just never just been my thing. I've just always more toward Final Fantasy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it feels like it's actually been longer than 20 years that they've merged. Honestly.
It really does. It really does. And I think like if you have to, I'm not going to judge Square Enix and by itself, right, in a vacuum when I look at was this good for RPGs, because honestly, I kind of disagree with some of the decisions they've made since that merger with their own personal properties. When I say, Tark, is it a good thing or not for RPGs, I'm not saying for Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. I'm talking about the genre as a whole. And I think when you look at it, at least my perspective is, I may not like some of the things they have done or are doing with Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy, and we've talked about some of those on this show. But when I step back and look at it, I almost feel like it was a really good thing for RPGs because it consolidated all of these powerhouse IPs into one publisher. And while generally you're not kind of like, well, great, now they own everything, there's no impetus for them to improve, right? They don't have any competition. But I think what happened with that merge, though, is that it opened a vacuum right behind them that a lot of smaller companies all of a sudden pushed into and said, oh, cool, they can only make so many at any given time. Let's fill that void. And we've gotten a lot of smaller developers that have become bigger developers now in the RPG space because of that vacuum they filled. So for that, I kind of look at it as it was a net positive. When Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest didn't have to compete anymore, that in a vacuum, I don't know if that was necessarily the best thing for those two franchises in the long run, but I think that's an entire other show we could have.
Yeah, I remember I like Kronos, I was primarily a Squaresoft fanboy. Hearing about the merger was absolutely shocking. I'm like, oh wow. I was aware of Enix. I loved Valkyrie Profile, Illusion of Gaia, ActRaiser, Dragon Quest, of course. But I just always put them as like a tier below Squaresoft. So when they merged, I thought this is awesome. You know, I kind of knew, this is before internet really blew up. I kind of knew Squaresoft was struggling, especially after the disastrous movie. So the fact that they merged together, I felt helped strengthen them. Like if that merger doesn't happen, I don't know if Squaresoft is still a company, especially with the PS3 and its architecture and Square Enix having struggles with the PS3 in general. So I think it's a net positive, like you said. And yeah, a lot of smaller studios have come to fill the void, and I've really come to love Atlas titles and a few other companies. So yeah, I think it's been good.
Speaking of games coming out, Live Alive coming out for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Steam. You're getting your releases. It's not exclusive to the Switch anymore. It's coming this month. Wait a minute.
What
that
about
list
Xbox?
Doesn't sound complete. So it's
Where's
on the
Xbox?
Switch now. It's going to be on PlayStation 4, PS5, and PC on Steam. Rip Xbox.
I spelled it. I'm sorry.
Again, rip Xbox.
Square just does not love them.
Nope. I mean, they got Crisis Core, so I guess
Well,
everything's okay,
Traveler.
right?
They got Octopath Traveler. Can I get Octopath Traveler 1 on PlayStation, please?
Marvel's Avengers got its final update on the 31st. Just a reminder. Its final actual content patch is now there, and then it'll just go. It's in an unupdated format right now, and then later this year it totally goes to maintenance mode. Right? There may be some like adjustment of numbers patches, but as far as content, that's it. We're done. And then in September, it won't even get like the numbers updates or the balance passes or what they plan to do there too.
Yeah, so if
and
you
gentlemen,
try it, now's the time.
Yeah, if I guess. Final Fantasy XVI has gone gold. From their Twitter account, from the entire team, including Torgal, we hope you're looking forward to Final Fantasy XVI's launch on June 22nd. So the game has gone gold. Send it to the printers. It's about time. Let's head over to Love It or Leave It. Love It or Leave It is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. I'm going to give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game, a feature, in a game, a press release, anything, even tangentially related to Square Enix. And you tell me whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it, never see it again. And in this case, I got to ask, the Square Enix merger on its 20th anniversary week. Kronos, love it or leave it now that you've had 20 years to look back? Was it the best thing for the companies, the best thing for the titles you love, the best things for you and you love it? Or is it kind of long-term, maybe not gone the way you wanted and you got to leave it? No fence sit. Pick one.
I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to leave it. I think the games that I cherish the most still have the old orange logo, the little like thing where the S comes together.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do it just for that alone. 14's an exception, though. I mean, I've played a lot of 14. A lot. And that's the Square Enix game. But when it comes to like the old classic stuff, it doesn't compare to me. So I'm going to leave it for that alone. Just for that.
What you think, Tark? You missed the old Squaresoft too much to love this one?
I'm part of a podcast that covers Square Enix and our love for it. I have to say, love it. Want more of it? ? I hope 16's great. The next year looks amazing. After that, I don't know. I'm gonna go love it right now, I guess.
I gotta say, leave it. As much as I can appreciate the two of them becoming one company and the some of the things that they have produced since then, some of which I've liked quite a bit, some of which I haven't liked quite a bit, and that's fine. That's just the nature of a company releasing games. I'm not gonna like them all, and I get it. And as much as I can appreciate the vacuum that it did create behind them for some good RPG competition, I constantly yearn for a world back in the 90s when it comes to RPGs, and maybe that's just me, and the world that I think might have been there if Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest were always and forever destined to compete with each other rather than not have to worry about competing each other, because they would just separate the release dates and get the sales on both. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Love it or leave it. Gentlemen, happy episode 100. It's been an absolute pleasure so far doing this with you. And Kronos, obviously you are always welcome as you embark on your, hey, I have a little free time on Thursday nights. What can I do with this free time?
We'll see about that.
Get that ultimate done. Don't go anywhere though, chat. Right after the show here, she's back. Faye Death.
Hey.
What's up, Faye? How are you?
I'm well. How about you? Happy 100th.
I know. Thank you.
Already.
Thank you. Yeah, 100 episodes. 100 episodes. Again, we're going to be off next week, and then we'll be back the following week. But Faye, what are you playing today?
We are back in Icewind Dale at least for one more week because we finally made it to a boss, and I'm very excited. We have Kresilak to take care of.
We finally made it to a boss. What a weird sense. I feel like you've streamed this for 6 months, but
it feels that way. Yeah, it does.
He's been stuck in a basement.
We've finally made it to a boss.
We finally made it. We may finally actually be able to resolve a quest in the journal, and I'm very excited about our accomplishment.
Don't go anywhere, chat. Give us a minute or two to relabel things, and then Faye will be right back. We'll see you Saturday this week for Gaming Gumbo at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, next week, Gaming Gumbo as normal, but we'll be off for the Relic Grind on Thursday. So come hang out Saturday night or during any of the other streams. Until whenever you happen to appear again, Mr. Adam Lane, where can everybody follow you?
I'll still be alive, hopefully, on Twitter. I'll probably still post there on occasion. I'll be sure to let you know when I clear the ultimate, for sure. So hopefully that's soon. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Tark.
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoth Gaming. My story playthrough of Crisis Core will be going up on YouTube soon. Kronos, it's been an absolute pleasure doing this with you. To have you as a friend now, to not know you before all of this. It's awesome to have you in my life now. But you can also find me on Ready Check Radio on Saturday nights playing Final Fantasy XV. And if you missed the last one, Tark versus 100 Cactuars, it was an epic fight.
Okay.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me on Twitter right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll know every time we go live with one of our podcasts or we're firing up the stream to play Final Fantasy trading card game, Icewind Dale, killing a boss here and there. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.